Hello, Internet. I'm Logan, your friendly neighborhood programmer and linguist. Today, I just wanted to play around with this tech demo slash unfinished video game that I wrote many years ago back when I was still in school to explore navigating in 4D environments. There are a lot of affordances to make finding your way easier, like the cursor reticule that indicates distance to the wall, blue highlights indicating the next waypoint on your path, and the 360-degree circular fisheye view that lets you get an idea of what's behind you so you don't spend as much time spinning in place. It also makes for convenient empty spaces in the corners of the screen in case I want to add more video game stuff without covering up the world view later. I spent a lot of time on this working out how to create an ergonomic control scheme for unconstrained 4D motion without gravity, and there is keyboard access for all 6 possible 4D rotation planes, but ultimately I figured out that it is possible to get everywhere you want to go, not necessarily in the orientation you would prefer, but to the right point at least, with just 3 rotations, any 2 2D rotations, and 1 W-axis rotation. Which means you can actually navigate these mazes almost entirely with a mouse. The environment here is fully ray traced because that was actually the easiest way to render a 4-dimensional environment. You don't have to do any slicing to produce 3D meshes, just add one more dimension to the ray vectors and it just works. But that also means that while I am using GPU acceleration, I am not using any of the usual 3D rendering pipeline steps. It's basically GPGPU code that happens to be used for calculating pixel colors. The environment is largely constrained by how much data I can shove into the GPU buffers, so this is actually entirely built out of cubes. They just don't always look like that depending on what angle you are slicing through the 4D environment. The textures are all procedurally generated because static 3D textures for the surfaces of 4D objects would take up more memory than is available all by themselves. But I have been thinking about polishing up another old tech demo for a 4D environment under gravity that uses height maps to more efficiently describe a 3D surface. When demoing this to various people, I've noticed that adults tend not to get it very easily, while kids tend not to worry about getting it and figure out how to play the game pretty quickly, which I take as a good indication that if I actually finished it someday, it would be a good game. At least that applies to kids that are related to me, which might have something to do with it. But if you like maze puzzles, you should check out my book of 3D mazes, link in the description. Okay, bye.